Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom for the very first time live on YouTube. We have been doing it, Allison and I, for quite some time on a different platform. And as I migrate over to YouTube as my primary source of social media, we decided to try it on here. So, welcome. Please feel free to type your comments into the comments section, and we will be able to show them up here. So
Mhm.
so glad to have you. And Allison, why don't you let them know how Wheel of Wisdom works?
Sure. So we got a wheel. It's full of wisdom. We spin it. It's got 6 different topics on it that we absolutely love to focus on, talk about. And so we let the wheel pick it, and we just hopefully add some benefit to the conversation around that topic.
Exactly. And with that, I have to tell you, I guess there was a time where I had to do it on my phone because you know how the browser remembers where you were last time.
Yeah.
So I put like wheel choice or choice wheel, and this website comes up, and it was already had the 6 topics we talked about. So I guess somewhere in history,
Simplicity.
I was like
Mhm.
at first, it's magic. So going with its magic, let's spin and see. Hmm, There we go. There we go.
Yay!
So authenticity is what it picked. So
Mhm.
today, today we talk about authenticity. So would you like to kick off the conversation?
Sure. So as you can tell, we show up as we are. Like in terms of presentation, what you see is what you get. So the topic, and if you want to go to Instagram and look at some of the stuff we've done in the past, there's I don't even a year or two's worth of Wheel of Wisdom where we've talked about different topics. But in terms of authenticity, it isn't just how you physically show up, it's the resonance with the things that you are passionate about that is kind of the core of this topic. So, it isn't just what you say or do, but it's how you show up in are you in alignment with the things that you really love, or are you fearful to do that because you worry about what others think, not working out, being made fun of, some sort of external fear. Is that what's keeping you from lining up with your authentic self? And through life, for most of my life, there was an opportunity to be out of alignment with my spiritual knowledge and information self. Right there. It kept me in the spiritual closet because I was afraid of what other people were going to think. So authentically, I was not myself. I did not own the topic. I did not honor it within myself until I did. Didn't happen until my 50s, but that's the kind of thing we're talking about is, are you lining up with the stuff that you are passionate about, that you are curious about, that you are interested in? Because it really is the heartbeat of your life.
Mm-hmm. And I have a question for you actually on that note, on your personal road to authenticity. Were you always, did you always have this kind of spiritual knowledge and, connection, awareness, I guess is the, well, any of that, all those.
So what's interesting is because the book that I just wrote, The Halfways, a guidebook to strengthen your intuitive connection. As I was writing the stories in it, there's a chapter called Connecting the Dots. Because what I realized in hindsight is that within the context of your own mind and your own experience, we often have intuitive experiences, spiritual experiences that we don't share with others, but we also don't question. Like they're just part of our experience, and maybe we don't fully understand them, but they just sort of happen. One example is a dream that I had starting at age 3, and I have a picture in the book so you can see what 3 looks like. I mean, it's teeny tiny, right? Like these are small people, but very profound things are happening in these very small people. Had a dream of me being on this stage. I'm this being made of light and love. And as I focus on my essence, the physicalness, this is the metaphor of the physicalness burning away, right? That was just something that was part of my reality
When you were 3.
when I was 3.
You had this dream when you were 3.
Yeah. Yes. Did I share it with anyone? Hell no. Like, what am I going to say? I don't have the vocabulary. I don't have
Right.
the understanding. It's just part of my experience. So, whoops, hold on a sec. That's my, don't forget Emmy, the wheel of wisdom that I snoozed. Um, that is an example of something. And I guarantee you, anybody watching this, when you look back, you will have bits and pieces of it may not be a dream you had, but there are bits and pieces of information that you have experienced that talk about your spiritual nature and your authenticity, whether it's spiritual or not. There's something in there that is present, and it doesn't have to be articulated, it doesn't have to be understood, but when you start in hindsight sort of piecing things together, you come to a bigger realization of how this is all perfectly orchestrated.
Right. And now I totally can understand. I mean, it was amazing that you could remember. Really, it's more amazing to me, well, that you had that dream at 3, but also that you could remember it, in such detail now. I think that, well, not I think, it's very true that children, especially young children, are more connected to their authentic selves. They are not even connected, they just are more their authentic
Yeah.
selves than we are. And we lose it somewhere, around grade 4. Everybody's different, but studies show it's around grade 4 that it happens,
Mhm.
so like 9 years old. So how about from the periods of 9 to 50? Were you still feeling it and just hiding it, or did it fade away for you and come back?
So again, it's like, what do you consider normal and abnormal inside of your own experiential reality?
Mm,
I talk about another story in the book where in middle school, this kid brought this picture of Greece to class, and it was like 8th grade or something. It was like Mr. Green's social studies class, right? And I remember having this very profound remember. It was just sort of like, remember this, right? Well, fast forward, that's where I met my husband, right? So it's like you get this sense of prophecy, but it's not really prophecy because time and space are different constructs. But in the essence of time and space, it looks like prophecy, right? Like you predicted something.
mhm.
Um, but it was these are just pieces of my experience that are just there. So I guarantee you, you have them, somebody else had, like, we have these pieces of who we authentically are. And that's my theme. My theme is, you know, explaining how physicality works when you have these two dimensions of spiritual and physical. So the reason I remember them is part of my theme. So everyone has
Mhm,
a theme, you have a theme,
mhm,
your authenticity is tied to that theme and your experiences and what is important for you to remember about that theme, as the viewers as well. Like they will have their own themes and what's important to remember. So,
mhm, mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I say this in my fitness classes a lot. Well, no, in one specific fitness class, it's called drum. So it's like a dancey cardio class where we use exercise balls and drum on them.
mhm,
And so there's like a couple songs, one specifically like Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And
yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're going to just tap into your inner diva here. And we're going to do like X, Y, and Z, in the movements. And I said, some of you might think you don't have an inner diva, but you do. And when you were 6, you knew exactly who that inner diva was. Tap back into that inner, diva. Or things like people are told, like, oh, I don't have good hips. Like, if I want to shake my hips, or I want to, like, oh, I can't shake my hips, or whatever. I'm like, it's all just lies. Society has told us, like, everybody can do that. Like, literally, I mean, unless you don't have the ability to move that part of your body, of course you can shake your hips, like, and it looks still good. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be Shakira to be able to shake your hips, But we've been like socialized that it's not this, it's not that. So just even when it's those tiny little things, going to a fitness class and feeling like you can let that piece of you out, I think that those are great stepping stones to, if you're struggling with being your authentic self, to just, or maybe you don't even know, like, well, who is my authentic self? So, both of those are big. Like, maybe you know it and you're hiding it, or maybe you don't even know. You're like, I don't know. I mean, am I not being authentic? But I don't feel really great. So maybe there's something more. So whatever the struggle is, the challenge is, I think just taking those little moments, that's like great strides towards
Mhm.
becoming more your authentic self.
Yeah, and it's a great question you pose, like, a lot of times it feels like such a big question. Who am I? Who is my authentic self? It's like, it's really not a big deal. It's just the stuff you like. That's it.
Mhm.
And your
That's
authentic self
exactly
can
it.
change from decade to decade, from day to day. Like, there isn't some stagnant place that is called your authentic self. It's like whatever you are in this moment, but getting back to that true place of what is the most exciting thing? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. And I think if you're doing whatever is exciting to you, when you're doing whatever is exciting to you, you are being authentic.
mhm,
That is just how it is. So for
mhm.
me, like dancing, anytime I'm dancing, people just come to me, like they are drawn to me. Like I should probably have been a dancing TikTok person. You know how that was a big thing on TikTok. I don't know if it still is as much,
Yeah.
but and I remember my TikTok coach saying, "Well, you don't have to dance." I'm like, "No, no, I love to dance." I probably should have danced and said my message or had it, come across the screen. But I thought, no, come on now. Dancing and being a coach or dancing and being in this isn't professional. So I
Oh,
wouldn't do it. I was hiding my authentic self. Whereas when I'm just going out dancing, at the club or whatever, I'm telling you, I could probably charge people whatever. Yeah, sure, come take the advice. Like I could charge people because they are just drawn to me like madness
yeah.
because I'm just being my authentic self. And I have found that more and more. Another piece of authenticity I'd love for us to touch on is like being able to set boundaries. Because I think when you're your authentic self, you can stand in your truth better. And you then are aware, like, this doesn't feel good to me. So I need to set a boundary about that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the one thing that is guaranteed is that when you are following your drumbeat, your authentic path, the side effect of that is confidence. And it's not a boisterousness confidence. It isn't a I'm in your face confidence. And like sometimes when people think about boundaries, I think there may be the misconception that I have to be aggressive when I set them, or I have to defend myself. Like there's a whole aggression based thought process. But when you are confident in yourself, you can just say, this is part of my path, or this is not part of my path. And that comes into play with relationships or saying yes or no to things. And, um, the idea that if I say no, somehow that's punitive in nature toward myself or the other person. It's not. It's not. It's just it's a yes or a no, and off we go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, I rhyme. Yes, no, and off we go.
I love it. All about the rhyme and alliteration. And so, yeah, no, agreed. And I've also found that easier and easier. Don't you find it easier and easier as you became more and more
Yes.
authentic and true to yourself? It just
Yeah, absolutely.
does because you feel that dissonance of like, this is not not for me, not on my path. And it's not a judgment that it's not for anyone else or it shouldn't be for anyone else. It's just
Mhm.
simply like, this isn't for me right now. And so then we're able to just like, no, no thanks. And before I certainly found boundary setting challenging, and I probably was a little aggressive with them because I thought, I have to set these strong boundaries
Right.
and I have to make sure everybody understands. Like, Allison, do not show up at 2:05. You're gonna ruin everything. Like, you know, who cares, right? But just a random stupid example. But, now I'd be like, if it was a problem, I'd be like, hey, Allison, you make sure you show up on time because punctuality is really important to me. And
Mhm.
if you were like, no, it's actually not important. I'll show up whenever I want. I'd be like, cool. Maybe we don't do this thing together, And it would be fine. It would be
Right.
totally fine uh, because I am more confident in myself. So absolutely, it is. I mean, confidence and authenticity go hand in hand. I think they help to build
Yeah.
each other. The more confident you are, the more authentic you show up. The more authentic you show up, the more confident you feel.
Mhm. And the
So
less
you're like,
anxiety you have as well, because I was
yeah.
someone who suffered from intense anxiety most of my life. But I think part of it was trying to pretend I was somebody else. And I think a great example is when I started in the personal development industry, I was coached to go to a business organization, BNI. They're like, you have to enroll in these business organizations. You have to sell to everybody, and it's products for everybody. And so I bought this. It was over $200. It was a custom made shirt, because that's the way it was. Blue, of course. It was like a blue tailored shirt, very businesslike. I never wore it once. I mean, it was some idea of who I thought I was supposed to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was super anxious, never wore the shirt, total waste of money. I have
Yeah.
way more influence now than I ever had then. Ever
Right.
then.
But we totally think that. We think that if we fit in this box that other people or society or whatever expects us to, which quite frankly, I mean, half the time there is no box that people are even expecting. It's our
Yeah.
story that they expect us to be that way.
Mhm.
But anyways, whether it's a real or imagined box, because there are real boxes too where people say, no, you should be this, you should be that, blah, 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 whatever. But we think that like that's going to be the way. It's so the opposite. All that does, like you said, just causes stress and anxiety because
Mhm.
really it's not meant to be that we are inauthentic. It's
No,
not natural.
no, it isn't.
Natural.
It's normalized, but
Yes.
it's not natural.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, beautiful. Well,
Beautiful.
I love that. Just talking about the nature is that we are going to be authentic. We are to be authentic. And, just because it's normalized doesn't mean it's so.
Mhm. Yeah. So I guess we could pose a question to the viewers and say, are you willing to be slightly more authentic in your own life and to see what gains you experience because of your alignment with your true self?
Yeah. And no, I think that it probably will be scary, especially if it's the first time you've tried it. And that's okay. Like, it's totally okay. It's totally normal to be scared when we're stepping out of our comfort zone because it's
Uh-huh.
our comfort zone to stay in this box of whatever we've created, right?
Yeah.
Even though it may cause us anxiety, it's still our comfort zone.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, I experienced this just the other day. Because I decided I'm gonna start. It's time to start doing verbal channeling, and it's not just channel writing. First thought was, you look like an idiot. That was the first. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I look like a dork because I was worried about the reception. What are
right.
people going to think of you?
Mm-hmm.
I felt
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, really, and I almost stopped. But I'm like, no, we're going to do this.
And how does it feel now that you've done it?
I still feel like a dork, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, because it takes practice, right? It's not like that's the thing. It's not this thing of, oh, I tried it once and magically I'm feeling better about it, right? It's
Yeah,
something new. Anything new takes practice, especially something that feels uncomfortable at first.
yeah,
So
100%.
we'll have to follow you on your journey of the discomfort of being a verbal
Well,
channeler.
they'll have to come into my new online group because that's the only place I'm doing it. I'm not doing it on any social media. So,
Love it. Tell everybody about your group and how they can join.
so the group is through, you can join by going to my, you know what, I'll put the link below this video because there's a
Beautiful.
special link, but you can also go to my website, AllisonSutter.com, and find your way in. The community is literally through the website. It's on my website. And right now what I'll do is I'll post the founders link below. So it's $13 a month. It's like, it's silly. It won't be like that forever. How long? I don't know. I'm just making the stuff up as I go along, but right now it's $13.
On your intuition, which is another topic we just speak
Uh-huh.
on.
But I have been doing written channeling 4 years. So that is the only place I'm going to offer the verbal channeling. And eventually I'll get to the place where I'm super comfortable and people can ask questions of the entity, the energy that I bring through. And yeah.
Beautiful. And how about your book? Is that still on pre-order? I
It's
pre-ordered my
it's
copy. I cannot wait.
pre-ordered. Yes, the book is called The Halfway, is a guidebook to strengthening your intuitive connection. I am back and forth with a person who is doing the formatting. We're putting the finishing touches on now. I mean, the release date is March 7th, but I will upload it before then, and then it'll kick out to you guys who pre-ordered a bit. Pre-order now. If you see this now, the price will actually go up on that book. It's $2.99 is the Kindle version. But I am gonna up it to like $4.99 for the Kindle, and then I don't know. I'll price the book accordingly. It's got some images in it that are color, so I have to take cost into consideration. But probably $15.99, $12.99. I don't know.
Get your pre-order copy. now. Are you going to put the link in for that as well?
I will. I'll drop it in there. Drop link. Note to self. Drop link.
Good. Fantastic. So you'll have all the links for all you need, and you can then click through. If
What are you up to?
Well, what am I up to? Thank you. I am doing the Educators Matter package. So if you are an educator who is burnt out, or an administrator, or you work for a school board, reach out, because I have this incredible holistic solution which starts with a workshop for educators and then continues with 6 months of Intensati spiritual fitness for both students and teachers. And if you're wondering what in the what is Intensati spiritual fitness, incredible transformative practice. But I always say to people, it's like your whole morning routine in one, because we do intention setting, we do affirmations with exercise, and we end with a meditation or a visualization. So the only piece of it that you might be missing, that is in like so many of the formulas, not that I think you need to follow formulas, by the way, but is reading. But that's it. So it's a fantastic workout, and it's more than a workout. It's a fantastic practice, and you can try it out for 3 weeks. It's essentially a free trial. You just put down a deposit to show up for yourself, and you can go to my website. I will put the link in the comments as well, so that you can try out that challenge for yourself.
I'm actually excited for you to lead it. You're going to lead the group in March. So I'm gonna suit up, man. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do it.
Good. You do that. I can't wait for you to finally get to try out Intensati.
Yes, I'm excited.
It'll be good. So there you go. You could see. And if you don't want to pay for the trial, you could just join her group for $13 a month right now. And then when I show up in March, there's class included in that month. So
Yep. That's good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, we thank you for joining. Put your thing in the comments if you are committing to being just a little bit more authentic with yourselves, and just play with it. See how it goes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here. Same bat time, same bat channel next week.